What is up, guys? I'm Neville, and today I'm going to be talking about Nikola Mirotic getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, the trade has not happened yet, or is it confirmed that it's going to happen? But Nikola Mirotic is pretty much confirmed being traded ever since he did fight Bobby Portis, or well, Bobby Portis sucker punched him. He has demanded a trade, and even though they're kind of winning right now, he still wants a trade. So a trade is pretty much guaranteed. And the top contenders right now are the Milwaukee Bucks, the Detroit Pistons, and I think the Utah Jazz. So yeah, but I'm going to get into why I think he's going to get traded to the Milwaukee Bucks. So without further ado, without me rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to get into is the trade package itself. So what I think the trade package and what a fair trade package would look like would be that the Bucks would receive Jaren Grant and Nikola Mirotic, while the Bulls got to get John Henson and Tony Snell. Now, before y'all cut my head off and everything, let me get into why this trade makes sense for either team. The first thing I'm going to get into is why this trade makes sense for the Milwaukee Bucks. So right now, John Henson is their starting center, but I mean, the dude is pretty awful. He's terrible. He's worse than Omer Asik. If y'all don't know who that is, y'all are diehard fans. He's worse than Asik. Asik is awful. To be worse than him, you have to be pretty bad. Right now, the dude, as a starting center right now, is averaging 8.6 points per game, 6.5 rebounds per game, and 1.3 assists per game, and he plays worse than those stats even show. And that's a pretty bad stat line, but I mean, to play worse than that, if you watch him play, he's just not good. And then also, he is ranked the 36th among every starting center. He's ranked 36 in rebounds per game. That means there are four backup centers that get more rebounds than he does, and he starts. That is extremely sad. And also, they are ranked 23rd in rebounds per game as an entire team all around, which isn't terrible, but I mean, you need to be better than that if you want to be a championship contender or have a deep run in the playoffs. And I mean, right now, if you replace John Henson with Nikola Mirotic, which, I mean, that's what they would do, because Nikola Mirotic, I know y'all be like, well, he's a power forward. The dude can definitely play center. He's as tall as a center. He's as strong as a center. He can play center. He played a little bit center in college, and I mean, he plays power forward right now just because he plays better at power forward, but he could play center, and that's what the Bucks will most likely do, as they have Giannis and Jabari Parker playing power forward, so he would most likely get moved to the center. And I mean, you would be changing out pretty much a kind of like 8th man bench player for a legit starter, Nikola Mirotic, at their center, who can be that rim protector and everything that they need, as the dude averages 17.4 points per game, 7.0 rebounds per game, and 1.5 assists per game. And that is 10 times better than John Henson. And Nikola Mirotic just plays with more fire. He's more emotional. He wants to win. It looks like he really wants to win. And also, that would improve the team, and not just their like rim protection and everything, but getting rebounds. And I mean, this dude is a extremely good rebounder. And for being a backup center right now for the Bulls, he's extremely good at rebounding, and he has good rebounding numbers for being a backup. And finally, if they'll have another post presence besides Giannis I'm not even gonna say his last name, Giannis. Right now, their post presence is very little, as Thonmaker, he's still developing. He's only 20 years old. The dude's still developing. He's gonna be good one day, but right now he's still developing. John Henson obviously is not good enough. Giannis, obviously, you can't stop him, and Jabari Parker is hurt. So without anything right there, you need to get a good player at the center just to make people respect your lane, like in you driving. So if you get Nikola Mirotic in there, you have to worry about him shooting layups, and they just spread the floor out a lot more for players like Malcolm Brogdon, and when Jabari Parker comes back, him and all the other role players to do a lot better than they are right now. And then also, they would get Jaren Grant. And y'all might be like, well, that dude's not good. And yeah, you're right, he's nothing great. He's not the best thing ever. He's a pretty solid backup point guard right now for the Bulls. And I think it would be the same thing for the Milwaukee Bucks. And the reason I do think that they would really want Jaren Grant is because they have one true point guard. He is a very good point guard in Eric Bledsoe, but he's the only true point guard in the entire team. That's going to cause problems rusting-wise, so you need to get a backup point guard. Jaren Grant is not a bad backup point guard for them to have, and I'm sure they would love to have him. So I think that would help them a ton. And right now it's showing, because Bledsoe has the 3rd most minutes per game in any guard in the entire league, so they badly need that backup point guard. But that is going to be it for why this trade makes sense for the Milwaukee Bucks. So without further ado, let's get into the Chicago Bulls and why this trade makes sense for them. So I do realize that the Bulls are going to be getting the short end of the stick only because Nikola Mirotic is pretty much forcing them to trade him. He required one, he asked for one after that sucker punch. He wants to be traded. They're pretty much forcing him to. So no matter what, you're not going to have the most leverage in that situation unless you're dealing with the Kings, which they're not. And so yeah, they don't have that much leverage in this trade, but they still will get some pretty good pieces for what they need. So right now, this would like be a really good package for the situation that Mirotic put them in, as you would be losing your second best power forward on the team, but that would open up an opportunity for a very young Bobby Portis, who's a very good, like he has tons of potential to be a extremely good power forward in this league. And I mean, that would be making the power forward combo Larry Marketing and Bobby Portis, two very young players with tons of potential all-stars. That is an extremely good power forward combo. And then I mean, yes, their center isn't all that great with Robin Lopez, but if you have two power forwards that are as good as them, you don't know where that could go. They might start two power forwards at that point once they develop all the way. And then also, I mean, that's gonna make Bobby Portis, because the dude obviously has fire. He plays with a lot of emotion, as we saw with the Mirotic situation. So if he plays with that emotion and just like wants to start and wants to start in spot back, because he did start for a while, and if he wants that starting spot back from Larry Marketing, who's a breakout rookie this year, he is going to work. He's going to want to work really hard, and I think if he works hard enough, the dude will be able to get a starting lineup. And then you have Larry Marketing and Bobby Portis. So no matter what, you pretty much have a very good power forward combination anyway. So losing Mirotic hurts, but it doesn't really hurt you all that bad, and it could end up helping you. You never know. And I mean, another reason is because if Bobby Portis was a third option, and he did miss a few games, but this dude was a third option, and he averaged 12.5 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, and 1.4 assists per game as a third option. If this guy's a second option, gets more minutes, they will have tons and tons of more playing time. That chemistry will be able to develop, and he'll just be even better than he is already. So yeah, but now another reason this is going to hurt them, since they are so deep at point guard. They're the opposite of what the Bucks have. The Bucks have very little depth in point guard position, but the Bulls have a lot of depth in the point guard position. So yes, Grant is your second point guard up, but I mean, you still have Cameron Payne, who's a very solid third string point guard, and will probably be a second string point guard for any other team. And I mean, this dude is very good. He can at least handle the ball and won't like get a turnover every time. He can see the ball. He has good court vision. He's pretty young, so if you watch him play, I mean, he has potential to be a decent point guard in the NBA one day. I mean, I think he will be pretty good one day, especially being a second string now. I think he will be able to like shine a lot more. But also, the position that they need some depth in right now is shooting guard, because right now they have Zach LaVine. He's injured, but he is coming back, so that would be a huge help for them. But I mean, Justin Holiday, the dude's been playing pretty well. He's had one of his best years this year, but that's because he's playing starter minutes. And I mean, when he doesn't play starter minutes, this dude isn't even good enough to be a backup. Like, if you look at what he was doing before he became a starter, in his year before this, his career high for points per game in a whole season was 7.7. His career high for rebounds per game was 2.7. That is terrible, by the way. That is pretty bad. So, I mean, if that means this dude can only play good with starting minutes, he's not going to start over Zach LaVine. And if he goes back to his old ways when he's on the bench, well, they're going to need a new backup shooting guard. And I'm pretty sure Tony Snell, who's 26, so he's still hitting his prime, he's a decent shooter. I mean, the dude's 6'7" at shooting guard, and he can shoot threes. And also, the dude is pretty sneaky athletic. Like, this dude, he can get, on fast break, he can dunk, and he'll posterize the hell out of you. And also, the dude's a great finisher at the rim, so that'll help them a ton with their post presence and everything, and I kind of help with the Mirotic thing. Have Tony Snell, since he's so tall, he'll be able to go in the post a little bit. So yeah, but unfortunately, guys, that's going to be it for this video. So guys, if you did like the video at any point, comment below if you did like the video. Also comment below, do you think this trade will happen? Do you think Nikola Mirotic will be traded? I'm pretty sure that he will be traded. Where do you think he will be traded to? Do you think he will be traded to Milwaukee? Would you do this trade if you were them? Comment all that below. Who do you think wins this trade? Comment, all that below. And if you did like the video at any point, hit the like button. It means the world to me. And if you really like the video and want to help me out, hit the subscribe button. It means the world to me. And also, kids, something about you. Either remember, never do your vegetables. All you do, stay safe, receive, goodbye. Boo.